If it's your first time here, my name is Jack Wang, a microbiologist, science educator, and the 2020 Australian University Teacher of the Year. I was recently invited to deliver the keynote address for the incoming crop of National Teaching Award winners, and if you're watching this, that hopefully means it went well. Apparently, Future Me captured some footage of the event, and I hope it gives you a better sense of what I'm about as a teacher and how this channel dovetails into my professional life as a university lecturer. So here it is, my keynote address.
I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands and waters on which we're meeting and pay respects to their ancestors and descendants past and present. Provosts, pro-vice-chancellors, deans, executive deans, directors, and leaders across teaching and learning in each university in attendance here today. My name is Jack Wang, and it's my absolute honor and privilege to be here delivering the keynote address as the 2020 Australian University Teacher of the Year. In all honesty, since winning the award 18 months ago, I've been struggling to process what it actually means to win such an award and how anyone can possibly live up to the prestige that this award entails. The best solution I've come up with to manage those feelings is to open every talk I've given with a gentle disclaimer. Please lower your expectations by about 10 to 15%, and I would have pitched this just right. Our sector has been through a transformational period, to say the very least, and everything that we counted on previously, timetabling, lecture rooms, enrollment numbers, delivery modes, the amount of technology we have access to for free or paid, everything can change or evaporate overnight. Sure, we advocate for lifelong learning in our discipline, but none of us bargain for a lifetime of learning condensed in such a short period of time. In this time of chaos and uncertainty, how are teachers supposed to stay motivated and energized through it all? We have to go back to our roots to find our origin story in teaching and why we became a teacher in the first place. That has to be where we drew our inspiration from. As a student, everything made sense to me. I knew that my teachers rewarded raw memorization, and for better or worse, that was the system and that was the game I had to play. I read the textbook, I memorized lecture slides, did every practice problem I could get my hands on, and repeated it again and again, and this type of learning behavior was rewarded. A great GPA, scholarships, you name it, until of course I hit postgraduate research training and nothing made sense anymore. All of a sudden, there were no more exams to study for, and the ruthless memorization techniques I had relied upon to succeed up until that point were meaningless. In science, nobody memorizes everything because what's the point? Everything in science and knowledge overall is constantly changing. So we have to adapt to that changing environment rather than memorizing it word for word. In fact, it's our job to change that knowledge and push against the boundaries of existing understanding. In postgraduate research training, I had no more exams to study for, so I spent my days reading articles and books trying to find the answers to questions I didn't even know existed yet at that point in time. It was terribly frustrating, but at the end of the day, I needed to relearn how to learn all over again. To further compound the problem, the discipline I was studying, molecular microbiology, involves studying tiny little molecules invisible to the naked eye and how they regulate the interactions between hosts and pathogen. And that might sound quite interesting to you intellectually and perhaps also relevant to our current global situation, but 10 years ago, nobody cared. Absolutely nobody cared. Well, at least in my immediate orbit, nobody cared. Every time I tried to explain the fascinating molecular machinations that I was studying, how there's different genes and proteins and interactions, and it's the constant chess piece move between the host and pathogen. It was the same expression every time. How should I explain this? I'm sure you've seen it before. There's boredom in there, yes, boredom, check. The dash of contempt, check. And it was almost as if they've spent their lives watching quality science presenters on TV, Stephen Fry, Brian Cox, explain so that they thought all science was interesting by default until they heard my explanation and things came crashing down to earth. Look, to be fair, that was just my parents, really. They're probably my harshest critics, but I wouldn't have wanted to listen to me either at that time. I didn't have the inquiry or the communication skills to connect my work to their everyday lives. And that central dilemma has defined everything that I've done in my teaching career since. I want to create citizen scientists for the digital age, and I empower my students to get hands-on undergraduate research from the first day of their undergraduate studies at university. They create podcasts and videos to explain the science to the general public, and as they progress on to early career scientists, I've also established programs that fosters that communication training. We need to connect our discipline to the general public through the work of our students, and inquiry and communication underlines everything we do. Ironically, it's never been more difficult to connect to anyone about anything, in spite of all the technology we have at our fingertips. How do we get our students to care more deeply about their discipline so that they want to explain what they're studying to their family, friends, and parents despite their own crummy communication skills? How do we get them to care more deeply to the point where it's not just memorizing a list of facts for exams, but they define themselves through the work they do within those disciplines? This is the challenge that lies ahead, and I don't have the answers, but I believe with the leaders in the room here tonight and the rooms I visited in the recent months since winning this award, we'll figure out the answer to this question together. Thank you to the AAUT, the organisers, the assessors, Universities Australia, for recognising teachers and all the work that we do. Thank you to the applicants, either you've won already or you're going to be a future winner. I know it is a very difficult, wrenching process to go through to justify your reason for existence as a teacher, but it's a very worthwhile one. Applying for this award has changed my career forever. It's been my pleasure giving this keynote address. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your indulgence. Goodbye.
Okay, so hopefully Future Me did a good job capturing footage and audio from the day. It's an incredible honor and privilege to be invited to talk all across the world, not to mention meet these incredible award-winning teachers in different disciplines. Hope that gave you more insight into university teaching, and hopefully I also get to meet you at one of these events in the future when it's your turn in the spotlight. This is the BioLab Collective. I'm Jack Wang, and I'll see you in the next video.